original New Ontario Brewing ended because of the war, and the New Ontario Brewing started because of a war.
That is President and Brewmaster of the New Ontario Brewing on Castle Street, Mike Harrison. The original New Ontario Brewing Company was located at Stanley and Regina Streets. It was destroyed by fire in 1915 and was never rebuilt as the Great War was well underway. Fast forward 100 years in September of 2015 when the New Ontario Brewing Company opened its doors. The president and brewmaster of the New Ontario Brewing Company is a veteran of the war in Afghanistan.
I was an intelligence captain with the Royal Canadian Air Force. At the time when I retired, I was the wing intelligence officer for CFB North Bay.
Let's just go back to the beginning. What got you interested in the Canadian Armed Forces?
I was 16 years old when 9/11 happened, and it's kind of cliche, but when that actually went off, it kind of fueled my desire to join the military. And then after I left high school, went to college for 2 years. The kind of opportunity to get a university education came up, and then paired with my desire to join, I kind of took the opportunity then and joined the military.
The final deployment of Canadian military personnel in Afghanistan was carried out in June of 2013. At 27 years old, Harrison was part of that mission. Leading up to your deployment, did you have any preconceived notions of what the experience might be like?
I think, yeah, we all have a preconceived notion. You think it's going to be, you have your expectation, kind of in the middle, then you have your worst fear, and then you have your what you hope it's going to be. And it ends up that for me it ended up being right in the middle of what I expected it to be. So yeah, I thought it was going to be dangerous. I thought it was going to be long days. I thought it was going to be hot in Afghanistan. It was dangerous. The days were long and it was hot. So I pretty much I predicted that.
When you were deployed, were you confident that you were doing the right thing?
I was confident in our training. Before we deployed, we went through months and months of rigorous training, weapons handling training, vehicle training, leadership training, because I was going to be a convoy commander when I got over there for part of the time. So our training was rigorous. And then when we did deploy overseas, I noticed that the Canadian forces that deployed there, be that from the Air Force, Navy, or Army, were exceptionally competent, the enlisted soldiers as well as the officers. And when we worked with our allied forces, I noticed that our soldiers and airmen and sailors had a level of professionalism that few other forces were able to demonstrate. Because we're such a small force, because we don't have the money, the resources that a lot of our larger allies do, we really look to our service members' professionalism to make up for any shortfalls that might exist.
Are you able to comment as a whole, Canada's role in Afghanistan? Are you confident in the job that was done in Afghanistan?
I think it's difficult to say because the war hasn't really ended. So our mission, I was on the last mission to Afghanistan. I was supposed to be there for 6 months. Our tour got cut short because Canada was winding down its operation. So when I was over there, equipment was already starting to get brought back and all sort of that thing. So there's an old expression, don't be the first and don't be the last into a region. So I think my experience there would have been different than somebody who was in Kandahar, in Opatina or one of those missions. So when we went over, our mission was essentially to help train the Afghan border police, help professionalize them. And I think that we left them slightly better trained and slightly more professional than we found them.
I sincerely thank retired Captain Harrison for sharing his story. Reporting for Cogeco News, I'm Clarke Heipel.